Mm.
and it
Yes,
is a
sir.
concern.
Especially from the vegetable vendors.
Uh, yeah, that is also one of the major concern because you can't stop. You can't stop having like vegetables and everything, and if it is going to spread, well, give me a second. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So that is another concern. Yeah.
So there is a campaign or
Mm. Yeah.
a place. It's ITBP camp, paramilitary force camp. So in that campus now there are 150 coronavirus
Uh,
patients now,
okay. 150
and
patients.
150 patients now. Before it was earlier it was 2 3 cases. Now they are spreading very fast, and
Hmm.
there are
Hmm.
I think 5,000 personnel in the premises of this ITBP camp. So
And where is that? Where is that?
Tigri,
This
South Delhi, is just near
South
Saket,
Delhi.
and
Okay.
Tigri camp. You
Oh.
now we see the this
Hmm.
paramilitary, BSF,
Yeah.
ITBP, and ESF. They are also now uh, facing this coronavirus crisis now.
Hmm. It is quite difficult. They are also kind of frontline warriors, you can say, in a sense, because they, though metro stations are closed, so CISF people might not be having challenges in terms of people moving one metro station to another. So they would not be having that challenge of managing people or screening people. So that is one thing. But ITBP and they are also in. Are they also involved in duty or something?
Yes, sir. They are also involved. Basically, they protect the parliament also,
Mhm. Okay.
president house also, and they are also, they are Indo-Tibetan border police force. Just like
Mhm.
BSF basically for the Pakistan border,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ITBP is for the northeast, that Tibetan
Mhm.
Arunachal Pradesh. It is for that
Okay.
border, Leh Ladakh.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, this is what. And I
And the
don't think
numbers?
this situation. I don't think, sir, this situation is going to be going down in the next few
Yeah.
months. Now it will go on a peak now, because now the
Mhm.
cases are spreading
Yeah.
in such a vast way that it's not our control.
Yeah. Yeah.
और दूसरा कोई सर वो है ना, सॉलिड मेडिसिन भी तो नहीं आ रही है, हम कुछ कर ही नहीं
Hmm.
सकते बिल्कुल.
Yeah, yeah. That is the main challenge because one, it is not easy uh, to identify the cases which are increasing. You do not have a clue. Like if one is infected, you don't get to know very soon the person is actually infected. And by that time you
Hmm.
get to know the person is infected, he would have already infected so many others. That is another challenge. And on top of it, if the symptoms are very similar to like cold and flu, that's another challenge. So, and the problem is it becomes so severe that it chokes your lung, it chokes your entire breathing design that you have in the body, and that is both of putting you completely bedridden and then going on ventilator. So it costs huge to the governments also and procuring ventilator for every patient probably is a difficult task for government also if the number actually goes to the extreme side. However, right at this moment it is under control. I can see, but you never know when the problem actually goes out of hand. This number can actually rise exponentially. We we do know that because if it really goes, and how long can you continue with lockdown? That is the question because you can't continue with lockdown the way it has been done for the past 1 month or half. it is not possible to continue the lockdown in a very similar manner going forward. You will have to start practice, you will have to start other things also. Maybe in some staggered or maybe in some disciplined manner, but these things would require a kickstart now, because we can't keep them dormant, we can't keep them not working, because otherwise it would be a difficult task to revive your economy. It will just go for tops, and you can't do all this in the economy, because otherwise it will be very difficult. And another thing is, people in India are not, because if you look at the disparity level, the economic disparity that we have in India, it's quite big, quite steep. On one hand, there are people who have got billions of dollars at their bank account, and other people who just dependent on hand to mouth for daily wages, right? So that is a stark reality of this country, and that is something very bothering and challenging. How would those people who are actually at the bottom of the pyramid in the economic parameters, economic thing, then how people will survive? That is another big problem, big challenge. And your video was quite good. The one that you shared with me yesterday, it was quite nice. So this guy, he was from a very modest family, and then he started, like, he did his he started with tuitions and everything, right? Quite motivating. If you look at the whole video, this one, the one that about the Feroz Aziz. So it was
Feroz Aziz, sir.
Yeah, Feroz Aziz. This guy is really tremendous, and yeah, because I did not know the background. I know about he is a fund manager and everything. This thing was known, but I did not know about his modest background, the humble background he come from, and how he actually capitalized the opportunities and went on and on and on with this kind of an approach. That is really inspiring and motivating. Probably you can share it with others also in the group, so that they can also get a feel of what his story actually mean. It really means a lot for people who actually come from the humble background, modest background. And the important thing he told in this video was about the risk. He had nothing to lose. So he just went on and on to prove like he is worth far more than what he was being paid in the beginning, right? He used to come and open the branch at ABN AMRO branch, which later merged with RBS Bank also. And so at a bigger salary of 9,000 something, which he told in the video, he started his career, right? And that point in time, he was already earning 50,000 rupees as a tuition teacher, right? 80,000 per month he was earning. Then he consulted another teacher who was quite experienced in the same field, and he asked him how he was able to, as in how much money he was able to make for himself. So he told him, as in his senior teacher also told him, that he was earning 2.5 or 2.5 lakh
per month, yes.
Per month, yeah. So he just calculated, like, then he also checked about the investment banker, how much investment banker can make at max, right? So see a lot of things he did in his mind, and then finally he took a jump in that field as a new start or restart of his career, right? So this is the attitude one has to have, because you should not be having a fear of losing, because when you start having a fear of losing, probably that is the time you actually stop your every ambition, you stop your every thought that comes to your mind, and you actually not able to take a big decision which you should be taking, and that is something very motivating. Because at times the money is a factor which stops you going ahead. At a 9,000, right? 9,000, he is leaving the 80,000 which is earning. It is a big deal, yeah. Very, very big deal, right? You can't do that. You can't do that. So if somebody is able to do that, that really shows the motivation, really shows the passion which he has for something. He knows his strength, he knows his caliber, he knows if he actually aim for that, he would be able to do something. And at the end or maybe in the middle of the video, he tells, if 5 crore is the upper domain, is the higher side, even if I don't reach 5 crore, I would be somewhere 1 crore, maybe 2 crore, maybe half of that, right? So that is the idea, that is something was going on in his mind. So it really reflects like the level of motivation that guy had. And if everyone can have this level of motivation, probably I don't think it is all difficult. It is at all difficult to achieve what you have thought in your mind, and that is quite good. Maybe you can
Yes, sir.
share
And
it in the group also. Yeah, that would be good.
I have already shared the video. It was
Okay.
before your joining. I have already shared the video, so but I don't think anyone has even उसको देखा भी होगा किसी ने.
This is a good one. This is a really good one because there are a lot of learning out of it. One is never. This video actually tells you never losing attitude. You should never be thinking of losing at all. Because there's nothing about losing. It is all about learning basically. You are learning every day, right? And he was the one. देखा क्या बताया उसने? उसने बोला कि he did not even have a seat to sit in the office, and he was sitting in a
Yes, yes.
right. So that is the. So see the how embarrassing would be the situation for him. But he also learned out of those embarrassment, and he actually told in the video very clearly. If you start learning from your humiliations, probably that is the time you can actually do something for yourself. That is the best time.
Yes, exactly.
His friend also told about one of his friend who is the HR later in his company.
Yes.
Right? He told him, this is not your class, this is not a cup of tea, right? Don't think about it. Don't think about it derivatives, right? And today he is the one who is actually making structured products. Structured derivative products which are difficult to actually make. And he is the actually one who is making those products for his client. That is the irony. Like, how can a friend think of because that is something, that is how you actually take those challenges head on. You say, let me see what it has got, and why would I not be able to do that? That is how he took all those challenges, and it was really amazing. This was really good. I
This
will
is how
also
मतलब,
suggest.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know the perception. How do you take it? The world is
Right.
when world is when his friend saying that Firoz, it's not not easy for you. ये तुम्हारे बस का नहीं है. So he took it as a that the world is saying to me as a challenge. He took it, and the way he converted his 9,000 to a 300 times.
Yeah. That is how the life is, because at times you and I think this is something which is which actually comes at times from within. It comes from within. It is if you start getting that thing from internally, like you are the one who needs to make those changes which the society needs, right? Then you start taking them that way. You become you start seeing yourself as a leader who needs to drive everything, who needs to drive everyone. No matter how much you are paying, the salary is not the factor in driving what you're trying to drive. The salary is just a one factor, right? Salary is a match or mismatch which can happen with anyone, but you can actually match, or you can even go beyond what others are getting if you really have the caliber and attitude to make those reforms and changes which a process, which an organization, which the society has required. So that is what he actually showed the whole world. And this is a brilliant story. I'll say at the age of 39, Deputy CEO, he's a Deputy CEO.
So he's one of the youngest fund manager of India.
And he has really innovated. He has innovated many structured derivatives in the last 12 to 15 years. and that is not working blindly. He's not working blindly. He's actually making those products. That means a lot. It is not something that there are products available, you're just working on them. So that really tells a lot about this guy. This guy has got real zeal, real passion in him.
At the end, he was also understanding the concept of standard deviation, variation.
Yeah, that's right. And in a very simple term, in a very simple, standard deviation is a
You know,
word you tell. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Anshi, chalo bhajao. So that is how he told this standard deviation. If you look at this word, this is it's so confusing or so big in its like if you just talk about the word, it looks so difficult to understand. But he told it's nothing. It is a plus and minus. That's it. Plus here, plus minus here. That's standard deviation. And in reality, it is like this only. In reality, if you look at the standard deviation, what it tells you, it tells you about a deviation, right? What could be a standard deviation? What could be a deviation from the that is how the things are. So which is very nice. Okay, so let's come. Apur is there, right? Apur, Neha is also there. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to have this last class, as I told you, and we would be binding it up by today only, and from the next weekend, that is next Saturday, we would be having doubt session class, right? So, and before that, probably I'll be sharing questions with you by today evening, and you can take a read. Read through those questions, and then probably any confusion, any concerns or anything that you want to clarify around those questions, we can discuss them on the coming Saturday. Then on Sunday we can have a mock session, and with that we will be closing your session. Then your certificates and everything would be followed up by as in you can follow up with Damini or with the institute directly. They would be facilitating other stuff, that is the admin work regarding your certification. Right, guys?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so we were doing this reconciliation. So I was on this slide. So it has this presentation has information which is a bit of overlapping at times. So we would be skipping some part of the slide which we would have already covered maybe in the previous slides and all. So if I find something is repetitive, I'll probably skip it and move to the next one. So that is how I would be proceeding and completing this presentation today. So this thing, we completed the integrity of reconciliation framework. So integrity we discussed yesterday. Integrity of data we discussed. Integrity of people we discussed. So that is, we can say, the segregation of duty, how a reconciliation should be performed. It shouldn't be performed by one individual. It shouldn't be performed by one who is doing the same work, or maybe the two people who are doing the same work as well. Maybe if just for an same set of work is being done by a team, if that person does the reconciliation, probably it defeats the purpose of reconciliation. So reconciliation should be managed separately, and so that there is no misuse of or manipulation of information is available for the person doing reconciliation. So that is the importance of reconciliation. Otherwise, if there is a manipulation, the whole purpose or integrity of reconciliation is lost. So to maintain the importance and the overall purpose of reconciliation, it is absolutely and utmost important that the reconciliation is done by two people. One should be the reviewer, one should be the preparer, and another should be the reviewer, and both And when you even look at the designation of the reviewer should be either at the same level or maybe at the higher level, but not be at the junior level, because if in case the reviewer isn't sitting at the junior level, there is again a chance of influence. The one who has prepared the reconciliation can influence the person sitting at a junior level in order to get things done in his way. So that is another integrity thing which is required while the reconciliation is being performed. So that is what we did on this slide. Now moving on. Duties of reconciliation: preparer, reconciliation reviewer must be performed by different individuals. We have done that. Documented evidence or regular commentary or progress toward the resolution. Formal governance: clearly documenting, reporting, and escalation framework must be in place for management to be aware of break levels and any risk arising from delays in resolution or failure to resolve. Availability of auditable evidence. So this is absolutely important, because while you're doing your reconciliation, if there are breaks, if there are some issues which you are facing in the reconciliation, those issues would require further investigation, more evidence, more investigation would be required. So you would be following up maybe the internal team, maybe the vendor where you have dependency. In whatever way you're following up the various team, you need to document, you need to evidence those things, so that if in case of an audit scenario, in case of an internal audit or maybe the external audit, it can be justified how you actually followed up for the resolution of those breaks, those issues which appeared in the reconciliation. So that is absolutely necessary from the reconciliation point of view. Another thing is the governance point of view. So you need to be reporting your reconciliation, and the progress of reconciliation should be shown in the reporting to the management, so the management has a clear idea how you are going ahead and resolving the break or the issues that you're finding in the reconciliation. So that is the normal daily process of an operation. How one should be acting upon the various issues or various challenges which one faces while doing the reconciliation. That is what the reconciliation integrity, you can say. That is what the escalation medium. That is what the progress you show up while you are doing the reconciliation work. So that is what is discussed here. I further move on. So that is the flow has been given here with all multiple different reconciliation that we have in an organization or investment banking. So bank account reconciliation, internal account, treasury is a very big word. Treasury involves cash management, securities, and it can be further divided into securities only. So there are two. There is a reconciliation for cash. There is a reconciliation for securities. Then reconciliation can be at portfolio level. So portfolio includes a lot of things in it. It can be your various different sort of securities. It can be cash also in some percentage. So that is the portfolio level. Then the cash management. There is the cash management team that primarily looks into the requirement of cash in the entire banking system. Which team needs what amount of cash and how that cash requirement would be fulfilled. That is the need. That is something which is done by the cash management team. So this team does the cash projection and the cash management. So there is an example maybe I guess on the another slide. So we'll discuss about that one also. That is pertaining to cash management only. So these are the kind of reconciliation. But as I always say, reconciliation is not something which I can say only these many reconciliations are there in the banking system. Reconciliation happens in every sub process and department and division. So I can actually not. It would not be fair for anyone to break down and say these are the only reconciliation which happen in the banking system. No, at a higher level, I can certainly say, yeah, these are the prime reconciliation which are necessary for every bank in order to reconcile the position, trade, cash, everything of that time. But to be fair and to be right in assessment, there are many more reconciliation which are performed by the banking institutions at their sub processes or processes, which is to ensure that everything is actually in line with the laid out procedures and process. Okay. I move on. Okay. So this is a broker reconciliation about trade comparison, trade reconciliation. What this talks about? What this talks about? The process through which it is, it is getting very cloudy. How is the weather there? It is cloudy there also. It is going to be. It looks to be going to be rainy soon. Here, it is. It is getting very stormy, very dusty now.
Yes, sir. Cloudy here also.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. It is, all of a sudden, morning was okay, morning was fine, but now all of a sudden in the past 10 to 15 minutes it has gone very cloudy, dusty, and stormy now. Okay. 1 second, let me just switch on the light. Okay, so trade comparison, trade reconciliation process, which two parties to a brokerage transaction, the buy side and sell side agree on the key component of security transactions. The key component of securities trade are this. You already know all these things. So there, whenever there is a trade reconciliation done, so it is done from two-way perspective. Uh, one is the buy side, another is the sell side. So both the parties required to do the reconciliation at their end to ensure the trade which they have done is the right trade. It has the right attributes to it. So in terms of nominal, the direction of trade, the broker, the quantity, the price, and the interest, how the interest convention would be followed. So everything has to be in order, and that can be ensured, that can be checked and can be ensured if that is in line or not by actually looking at the information which is feeding through system and the information which might be available in other source system or maybe in the email or not. So that is how that sort of a reconciliation is performed by buy side and sell side teams. So which can you also, this can also be termed as broker reconciliation because broker would be involved in carrying out a trade. So in other words, this can also be termed as a broker reconciliation. At such time, both parties, buy side, sell side, agree on all key trade component, trade comparison or contract result. A trade comparison or contract creates a legally binding security transaction. You know that. Trade comparison matching process is performed in one of two ways: electronically through a designated clearing corporation or clearing house, or manually by the brokerage firm. The determination of whether or not a security is eligible for comparison through an electronic clearing house is made at the security level, that is on a security by security basis. This classification is made by individual clearing house. This classification is made based on a set of criteria that are selected by particular clearing corporation. Securities that are not eligible for services of electronic clearing house are considered ex-clearing. So here the broker one, the reconciliation that we're talking about, one is the with broker reconciliation, another with the clearing house. So clearing house in the sense when the data is sent by the broker to the clearing house, so that sort of a reconciliation is also performed by the clearing corporation to ensure that trade and the securities which are supplied to them are the eligible ones. So if the securities are not eligible, broker or rather exchange will come back to broker stating they need to give the right set of security. So or if there is not enough margin and everything, so this can also be confirmed by the clearing house back to the broker, and accordingly. So this is again a kind of a matching process or a reconciliation process, a two-way matching or reconciliation process performed by broker and the clearing house together to ensure the reconciliation is there about all the trades which are facilitated by a broker for any entity for that matter. Similarly, the clearing house need to ensure, given they are the one responsible for clearing and settlement of trade, therefore they would be very very tight in doing the reconciliation, and this flow of information would be very quick from the clearing house to broker, in order to ensure if there is any breakages, if there are any sort of issues, they are reported to broker on a very quick and prioritized manner. So this is what we have here. Moving on. So this is more or less the same thing. We just take a read, but this we have already covered here, that we talked about this. X clearing means the trade comparison process is performed without the services of electronic clearing. X clearing is a manual comparison process that is performed by brokerage firms when a trade security does not meet the eligibility standard of designated clearing corporation. The date for comparison: trade date, settlement date, security traded, quantity traded, transaction price, accrued interest, net of settlement, dollar amount. Contra broker agrees with the specific trade details on comparison. The comparison is signed written to the originating brokering firm. So this is a process. So X clearing means before the clearing actually begins. So this process is done by the brokers at their end. They need to verify the details of the trade. They need to compare if it all matches with the eligibility standards of the clearing corporation, and if the trade is ready to go through clearing. If there is any mismatch in terms of the details or in terms of the information with the trade, that is the date, settlement date, security traded, quantity, and everything, so that trade will not be. So it is basically, if we look at this whole process, it is a part of a trade life cycle only, because when you go through a trade life cycle of your exchange traded securities is this way only. Broker, even when you are using a electronic platform of a mobile app, or maybe the website where you're doing the trading. So when you initiate a trade, it is initiated by a broker on your behalf. That trade goes to the exchange, and there would be a counterparty to the trade also, which is not visible to the broker or to the party initiating the trade in the first place. But clearing house knows about that transaction, and we know a trade takes 2 days time for clearing. So this is a process X clearing. So when it is done on day 1. So this needs to be checked. So this is checked by the broker. This is checked by the counterparty also at the other hand. So more or less, this is not manual, this is not manual at all. It is all STP. It is all automated, right? So there are not very high number of chances of failing of the trade. It is not like that. There are very minuscule chances of a trade executed using a broker platform or going through the exchange. But the clearing process or X clearing process comparison is still there to ensure that everything is in order. Similarly, there is a reconciliation for the commissions also. The commissions which are performed by the commissions which broker receives by executing every trade, those are also they are also reconciled accordingly. So when you look at this particular example, when a client buys securities to a brokerage firm, the net amount to trade represents the amount the client must pay the firm for transaction. The net amount of a buyer trade includes the cost of stock, principal, plus additional fee, commission charged by the broker dealer. Assume Sam buys through his broker 100 shares of XYZ stock at this rate, 15 3/4 per share. Sam agrees to pay his broker a commission of 5% per share. So this is the principal amount 1.75. Total commission is $5, right? So if you calculate this, it comes here quantity 100, multiply this comes this is the amount, right? Quantity commission, you multiply this, that which comes out to be this amount, $5 commission. So rate is given here. You calculated the rate, divide it is how you calculated. You divide this 100 by you divide 5. You just because you are applying this 5 into commission rate would be proportionally divided for the quantities that you have. So $5 is the total amount, right? So you just do the addition, net amount becomes this. So whenever you transacting in securities, so you always factor in the commission that you can term as brokerage. So the brokerage or commission, whichever word you want to use, that you would be paying to the broker would also be factored in. So you can look at this particular example. So $5 is the security brokerage commission that you are paying to the broker. So in total, the expense for a trade is $1580, not 1575, which is the principal amount of the trade. But you are paying $1580, $5 more than you are paying. So this reconciliation is also done, which is a broker commission reconciliation or the brokerage, whichever the broker is charging from the client. So this reconciliation is actually done by the broker. Moving on. Similarly, there is another which has been given when you are selling a share. One earlier was we talked about is where you are buying a share. This is when you are selling a share, so it is more or less the same thing. When you are selling, you would be whatever you are supposed to receive by selling the share or security, you would be deducting the commission part that you need to pay to the broker. So in this case, again, the $5 is the commission that we saw in the previous slide also. So $5 is subtracted from the principal amount, so total comes out to be 175. This is the net amount that a person would be receiving in his account by giving $5 brokerage to the broker. Any question, anything that you have in mind as of now?
No, sir.
Okay. So, okay, moving on, risk of not performing broker reconciliation. So these things would be quite same as we have done in previous, because the risk of not performing depot and nostro cash and nostro account we have done, depot and position we have done, right? Internal reconciliation, and so more or less these would be same in a sense, because when you don't perform reconciliation, what all risk could be there. So it would be bit similar. Trade incorrectly executed by broker, that could be one of the risks. Leading to issues with confirmation settlement, that could be another risk. Incorrectly alleged trade not executed by broker A, but broker B alleging trade to A. So this is quite this one is quite common, you can say. When we do the settlement thing, settlement faces these kind of issues quite a lot, wherein one party is executing or alleging trade in the market, however another party is actually not having their instruction in the market. So that means they did not even initiate the instruction from their side, and which is a very you can say the risky one. Risky in a sense, counterparty even doesn't know about your trade. They do not recognize your trade. So if they don't recognize your trade, how can that trade be matched? So it has to be tracked back from the point one. It is how your trade went in market, what went wrong in a sense. The counterparty is not putting their instruction in market. Has to be investigated, has to be tracked from day one or from the start to understand what is the loophole. So this is very common in settlement. Incorrect commission charged by the broker. So this is also possible. Collateral reconciliation with the broker from margin calls. This is another thing which is done whenever there are margin calls. Collateral reconciliation is also one of the thing which is done. Incorrect broker code by front office on trade. Incorrect commission. So it is also possible the broker for a trade is another broker. However, you have presumed or assumed the broker is someone else. So because of the code that you have in the front office system, and that would look as if the broker is someone else. However, on the other hand, the broker is not the one which is reflecting with the code that is there in the front office system. So that is another thing. Proper recap helps in resolving confirmation issues if trade is indirectly booked by the parties to the trade. So these are the risks which are there if broker doesn't do the reconciliation. Then coming to cash management thing, what is cash management thing and why it is necessary? Cash management is a very critical activity for every investment bank. Trade off between liquidity and profitability have a big challenge banks strive to achieve. Bank always look to access cash to earn income, not leaving funds dormant in the bank account. So this is the priority of every bank. Banks do not want to keep any idle money with them. They want to invest every penny that they have lying in their account. Right? That is the objective of every investment bank, unless it is the requirement of regulators that they need to keep aside certain portion of their money. They need to keep aside certain portion of money. So that is a different story. Otherwise, the objective. So that is another challenge which banks face, because the liquidity and then the profitability. These are two things which go hand in hand. If you don't have enough liquidity, then your profitability will itself go down. Just take an example. If you want, about one of the securities, one of the share that would go up in the market. Maybe you can talk about the State Bank of India, you can talk about the ICC Bank. State Bank of India anyway is trading at its 52-week low. State Bank of India is trading at 52-week low. Similarly, ICC Bank is also low, but it is not its 52-week low. It is low, and it is expected to move up. So if there is a security which you expect to go up, but you don't have enough money, or maybe your money is already occupied, or is already, you have put in your money in some other trade which is not that good at that given point in time. So if you don't have enough liquidity, then probably you're gonna face big challenges in making your profitability higher. The profitability and liquidity both go hand in hand. If you don't have enough liquidity, your profitability will definitely be going down. Bank has to fund its account appropriately to avoid any overdraft or settlement bills, right? So they will have to fund appropriately to avoid any overdraft or settlement bills. So if custodian doesn't have enough securities or position in the client's account, then they may go for an auction of buying of those security from outside, from outside market, and in that case, there would be overdraft charges which should be applied to the client only. So bank or the financial institution who are doing trading and who are engaging with custodian and broker, they need to ensure they have enough sufficient security and cash balance in the account, so that they don't have to bear overdraft or penalties or any sort of charges from custodian to broker for that matter. So that is one thing. Another is better cash management process results in lower cost for handling cash and improving the investment decisions, which will have a direct effect on ROCE. Okay, what is ROCE? Any idea what is ROCE? The short form that we use?
Return on capital employed.
Yeah, right, absolutely. It is return on capital employed, right? So this is better cash management will lead to better return on capital employed. So that is how this cash management is all about. Cash management is normally a separate team with a treasury operation. Cash management team follows up with the product areas, equity, credit, derivatives on respective cash inflows and outflows, and big swing in the bank. Big swing in the bank is important. This is the role of the cash management. If somebody talks about this, what does cash management does? There's something that comes to your mind is this. The cash management team actually looks at the requirement of the cash in the whole banking system. right? So there could be cash management team at your sub-process levels also, but one I'm talking about here is the cash management at the bank level. So what this team does actually, this team actually looks at the requirement of cash across the bank, across the divisions, across the products area, or maybe the asset classes. So equity, credit, derivatives, right? So all these product areas would be looked after by the cash management team. They would have to see what is the cash requirement by these teams, and they need to ensure there is enough cash is available, or they are able to meet the requirement of cash for the other teams whenever there's a need arises. So look at this example. What is the example talking about? Settlement of an exotic currency. What is exotic currency here? Let us take a case where we have a settlement of a Turkish lira. These are exotic currencies not normally traded daily, right? In such cases, the product line equity, fixed income, derivatives, etc. may have to form the cash management team in advance so that account is funded with requisite amount, right? So given this is an exotic currency, so it is not traded so often. So there is a probability, there is a very high degree of possibility there is not enough exotic currency available while the settlement takes place. So therefore, the cash it has to be informed to the cash management team in advance so that the requirement for this currency can be procured, and maybe it needs to be procured from outside market or maybe internally, whichever way the bank see, they would ensure there is enough requirement, there is enough currency available to do the settlement process for this currency, right? Hope this is clear what the role of cash management, what does cash management do, and why they need to actually work in tandem with the other teams in the department to understand the cash requirement. So this is the role of the cash management. So they receive the requirement from various subdivisions, various other departments who are working on different asset classes, and they post the requirement to the cash management team, and accordingly cash management has to coordinate with the teams in the bank, and also if they find there is not enough cash available maybe within the bank, then they probably follow up with the other stakeholder, with the other external heads like interbank transfers, interbank bank to bank. So they might rely on other banks for a short-term requirement like the money market euro. You already know about the money market. So what the money market does? So money market is basically to meet these short-term cash crunches or cash requirements, so they can rely on other counterparts who are working in the financial market for the cash requirement. So this is what the cash management team does. Okay, I will not go through this diagram because it is very small in size, and at the same time it talks about this more or less the same thing. Internal systems and external systems. I'll not be spending time here. I'll just move on. Cash management again. So the same thing that we discussed: balance, bank balance at the end of previous day, system cash projection, batch files through the day, cash adjustments, unconfirmed trade, settlement failed, projected intraday updates on different systems, final balance, projected, confirm, unconfirmed, exception, reconcile with intraday balance and EOD closing balance with agent banks and free advices. So this is what the cash management team does. So they look at the various projections in the form of unconfirmed trade, settlement fails, and then the trades which are actually settled. So that way they can have a clear idea about the projection or the anticipation of the cash requirement and the cash they are going to receive in the form of various receipts. So that sort of a reconciliation is done by the cash management team. So they require to do this reconciliation. What was the anticipation of cash, what they received, what they did not receive, and why they did not receive, because of unconfirmed trade, because of settlement fail, or because of any other exception which they would have received. So this is the internal and then the external process involved. Internal balance, EOD balance with the agent banks and free advisors. So wherever the settlement needs external parties or the custodians and all, so they also need to reconcile balance with the external parties, because ultimately the asset management is with custodian. So if there is any mismatch with custodian balance, which probably what you are showing in your books would not be making any sense to the overall system, because it should be matching with should be matching with your balance with custody. That is absolutely required. Give me a second. Give me a second. It is raining quite heavily now, right? Now it is just raining very heavily. Is it raining heavily there also?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Here it is raining very heavily. Okay, so moving on to another slide. So cash management, the role and everything, I guess, is clear with this what kind of a reconciliation they do. They do reconciliation with the agent bank, custodian. They do reconciliation with the internal team, wherever there are unconfirmed trade, wherever there are unsettlement deals. So this is the role of the cash management team. Okay. Nostro reconciliation. Nostro, I will not be spending much time here because we have already done this Nostro reconciliation. So I will just be reading through the information or detail available on the slide. Then probably we can just move on. In order to deal, Nostro reconciliation is the same one that we discussed on the slide where a couple of reconciliations were mentioned. In fact, six different sort of reconciliations were mentioned in that slide. So it is more or less the same thing. And transact in foreign currencies, bank maintains account with other banks globally. This is known as Nostro account, right? Nostro reconciliations are an account process used to compare two sets of records to ensure the figures are in agreement and are accurate, and is commonly used for currency settlement. Banks maintain account with other banks' Nostro accounts, and it is necessary for them to reconcile ledger account statement with the Nostro account statement. Replica or Nostro account is maintained by a bank in its books for operational purpose and is known for Nostro mirror account that we also discussed in yesterday's session. So this account is maintained by the bank which is operating in India, and they have got their bank, they've got their account in the overseas markets as well, or the global banks. So they need to reconcile the money flow which is coming in their overseas account with the money which needs to be accounted in the domestic side of the bank. So that is how they do that. So they have an account at domestic market, in the domestic market, and then they have in the Nostro account in the overseas market. So the Nostro account should have the same detail or same number which the domestic account has. And at times this reconciliation cannot be done the same day. Therefore, what banks do, they make up a Nostro mirror account. So mirror account basically helps them do the reconciliation the same day. They can see the projection, they can have an anticipation of the fund flow in the Nostro account. So that way they are updated. They know what amount they are supposed to receive in the Nostro account, and they can tell you the next day if the same figure actually reflected there or not. If it is not reflected, then probably they could their analysis, they could do their investigation to see why that amount is not there, which was shown in the Nostro Mirror account in the first day or the end of day reconciliation. This is the end of the reconciliation with the bank with the previous day. So that is how this Nostro reconciliation is done, and it is one of the important thing for the banks, for every bank who have their uh, global accounts, you could say. What is the risk of not reconciling Nostro account? Through the process of reconciliation, banks can track the status of cash received and receivable, amounts paid and payable, and track unsettled transactions either in the mirror or in actual Nostro account. For instance, banks can ensure that their interbank cash flows from FX spot, FX forward, FX swap, borrowings, and replacement derivative is settled. Reconciliation helps in identifying unsettled discrepancy in transactions and helps in quick remedial action. So it is quite plain and simple in terms of the understanding. So what this sort of a reconciliation helps in, it helps in giving you a right projection about the cash receipts you're gonna have in your Nostro account. It can reflect how much you need to pay, that the payable can be seen, and track the unsettled transactions, and can see those in the actual Nostro account with the help of the mirror account that you have maintained. For instance, banks can ensure that their interbank cash flows from the FX spot, FX forward, FX swap, borrowings, placement, derivative, etc. So that is basically what Nostro account is there. This can also be the question in your mind: why do a bank has its Nostro account? So if you look at these things here, this particular things, this particular sentence or the line, you can clearly make out what is the need of Nostro account. So in order to carry out your FX transactions, right, you need to maintain a Nostro account so that you can do those transactions for your client, for the institutional clients and all that. You're required to have a Nostro account with different currencies with the different countries also. So that is the requirement for the Nostro account. And reconciliation, you already know why the reconciliation being done, to ensure there is no, to ensure if there are fails, they are duly captured, they're duly followed up, there is a proper track available for those failures of transactions, and daily reconciliation of this sort will help in identifying those failures of the transaction. The one example that we talked about, the Nether Bank, was the failure on the bank as a whole, because they were not reconciling, or they were not, say, in fact, reflecting the payment which they were making to to the client in the overseas market. So the same transaction was not reflected in the domestic bank's account, and which was in a sense a failure, because whenever you are initiating a transaction, it needs to be captured somewhere. So that came to light when everything actually unraveled, and it was dragged and it was tied back to various things which happened in the past by the bank and people who were involved into the whole stuff. So this actually can be tracked and can be seen and made out only when there are such issues. But however, to prevent and to stop such issues happening in future, bank needs to have a very robust reconciliation process, and that is the requirement of a reconciliation. Whenever the reconciliation, probably you should always have a couple of examples. The one which I shared, we will definitely talk about. That is how it helps in curbing or in stopping these sort of problems which financial institutions face in or maybe also the NPA things. You can talk about the banks have got a lot of NPAs. So NPAs are coming. There is not a, oh, okay. There is another news which I read yesterday. Might be you also read. So the SBI Bank has SBI, and along with SBI, there are a couple of more banks who have claimed there was a rice merchant who was who hasn't paid some 414 crore rupees, which are which were due from that merchant, and and he has fled from India maybe. So, and this transaction was was from 2016. So you can look at this now. So after 4 years now, this thing has actually come into light that the amount of 414 crore which was due to SBI by this rice merchant based out of Karnal or maybe some area of Karnal and all those in the same proximity of Karnal maybe. So this rice merchant has fled, and this is a kind of a this is the kind of the process wherein they were not maybe the reconciliation process was being done. I'm not sure about the entire thing how this actually transpired now, why it didn't came before the bank earlier, because it's a 4 year now, and the bank is claiming it actually this was actually to be settled or to be completed in 2016. So maybe they were giving some more time to the client to pay back his dues, but at last he did not did not pay them uh, at all, and he has fled. That's the 414 crore due which was at SBI, and other banks also. It is more than 400 crore. So 14 crore is something which is for SBI, and there is some more amount which is from IDBI Bank and from other banks also. So the NPA, when you talk about the NPA which banks are facing, it is just not because one, while they are giving this loan, I don't think there is a huge collateral which is kept against these credits which are being posted. Looking at the client business, and overall stuff, the banks are giving this huge money to them, but they don't understand there could be clients who set up their business in the name of doing business, but ultimately the objective is to defraud, to fraud with banks and to make money out of those businesses. This is the overall objective. So with this, I take a pause here. Maybe we can have a 10-minute break. We will start at 10:15. Then 10:15, 10:20. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's complete this presentation. Okay, before that, let me just send you the last uh, slide presentation, last presentation that we had last, in a sense, all the PPTs that I haven't sent as of now. Let me quickly send those. Because I usually forget them. So I guess all the slides or PPTs which I prepared, I would be sending them in one email. Visual risk and collateral management I've already sent. Visual norms I can send it in case somebody didn't receive it. So what I can do, let me see. Neha, this is your email ID, right? Actually, what is the Okay, so I guess I've included 4 people, so you can further forward it to the others which I missed. I guess I am not having the email ID for Kruti. I don't have my email ID for mm, Jeff. Jeff, so it's gone. So, okay, let's come back to the slide. All right. So, so this cross reconciliation we have done. I move on. What is the risk of not reconciling? This is also we have done. So, nostril reconciliation. Nostril credit entries, statement credit are reconciled against internal debit entries, ledger debit. Nostril credit may arise due to payment received on behalf of customer, internal interest amount credited to nostril account, receipts from interbank deals. Ensure that all the receipt settlements are acted upon by the corresponding bank and reflected in nostril statement accordingly. Credit in actual nostro is to be reconciled with debit in nostro mirror account. So this is the process which has been explained here, and what is the purpose of reconciliation with the nostro account has already been talked about in the previous slide. So now I assume more or less you're clear with the importance of nostro reconciliation. So if you look at the importance, it is very clear, it is amply clear why do we need to do reconciliation. Reconciliation is to ensure the the entries that you have in the account are in line with the expectation, the anticipation, or the projection of the cash or the securities which you were supposed to receive. So that is the objective, the high level objective, and to ensure there are no exceptions, and if there are exceptions, they are well documented and evidenced accordingly, so that the proper follow-up can be done. So that is the moot reason why reconciliation is performed in any financial institution. Whichever bank you talk about, every bank has got reconciliation process with them. This is again another example. Quickly, we can look at this. Very easy to understand. Google has issued bond worth rupees 1 lakh euro. They have appointed Citi as the primary bank. Citibank. Yeah. So Google has issued bonds worth rupees 1 lakh euro. They have appointed Citi as the primary bank. Citibank has nostro with Deutsche Bank Frankfurt for euro. Right. So this is the detail. They have issued a bond. Bond is worth 1 lakh euro. That is 10 lakh euros, I will say. And the interest paid is 7.50 paid semi-annually. And nostro account is with DB Frankfurt. So how this transaction would look like? You can look at this DB Frankfurt nostro account to show the debit of 1 lakh securities, right? And bondholder, so debit would be in the nostro account, and bondholder's credit would be 1 lakh. Internal ledger debit, journal entry by DB Frankfurt nostro account deposit, that is, and the deposit account debit of 1 lakh, then standard chartered credit of 1 lakh, standard external statement credit. Then in the books of this, interest expense, interest received for the funds deposited in the Nostro account, which has been reflected here in the books of city. Interest would be shown as credit in the books of city because it is going from the the client's account. So it would first be reflected as credit in the city's account, and then it would be showing as expense in the Nostro account for the TV. Later on, it would be showing as debit, and Citibank credit account as. So hope this is just an example to show you how the reconciliation process works from the accounting point of view. So this is more or less the same information. Nostro debit entries are reconciled against the internal credit entries. Ledger credit Nostro debits may arise due to honoring the payment message sent by bank, payment of draft issued by bank, charges debited in Nostro account, payment on account of interbank deals. This is to ensure that all payment settlements are acted upon by the correspondent bank that reflect on Nostro payment statement accordingly. Hope this is clear. Any questions around this as of now? Anything that
No,
comes to?
no, sir.
Okay. So I am not spending much time on these pieces because these are more of the same detail that we've done. Just there is a tweak of statement here and there. So not giving much emphasis, not spending much time because wherever I feel I need to take more time, I'm taking there and I'm just moving quickly so that we can close it. We have got 20-30 slides more in this entire presentation. So I just want to just spend time wherever is necessary. Otherwise, I want to just moving on as fast as possible. Okay. This is the same example. Just it has given all the information in the one slide. It has given your interesting also on the same page, your debit of your bond and the payment of that bond amount and everything is given there. So it is the same thing. I will not be spending time here also. Then trade matching using systems. So there are a lot of systems which are used for doing the reconciliation. Few of them are listed here. SmartStream, TLM, Oracle FlexCube are some of the leading softwares in Nostro reconciliation. For the Nostro reconciliation, these are the systems which are used, and one can define the parameters based on which external entries can be matched with the corresponding internal entries. The match rule that you can define can be based on a variety of criteria like amount, tolerance, plus, minus can be used here. Value, date, exact, which with the tolerance amount that you could define. Transaction reference, simple amount or bunched amount, 1-to-1 match or 1-to-many match. Security identifier, trade date, settlement date, direction. So these are the criteria which are set in the system to do the reconciliation process. So there could be a tolerance, there could be a threshold for doing the reconciliation. So the broader the high value transactions required more priority, so they are accordingly fall in queue first in the list and as per the threshold which is decided there. Then these are the various parameters and the criteria attributes to do the reconciliation. Transaction reference, simple amount, bunched amount. It can be one by one match, so means one transaction at one time, and it could be clubbed transaction also. So you club the 10 transactions together and the total amount. You don't take one streak of transaction, rather the streaks of transactions clubbed together, and with that you match the entire amount. So these are systems which are named here. The TLM, SmartStream, Oracle FlexCube are some of the leading software which are used for the Nostro reconciliation. Interest claim is another thing which is also reconciled. So as we discussed with posting of collateral, with failing of settlement rate, there are certain claims which are raised as interest claim. And also with substitution request that we have, that you can call coupon payment or the dividend payment. And for coupon payment specifically, I will say they have interest payments also. The interest coupon is called interest only, in other words. So when a company issues a bond, they need to make a regular interest payment to their clients, settle the interest claim. Similarly, if there is a failure of a trade, that can also have an interest attached to it. If a trade fails, or then the entity who was responsible for the failure of the trade would be liable to pay the interest for the number of days the trade is failed. So that is also something needs to be reconciled in the books of the investment banks, given there could be some big transactions which really have a lot of interest associated with them. So, funds not received on due date in ordinary course of business as a result of administrative errors. So this is simple thing that we discussed. So if something was supposed to receive on that due on a given date, it did not come on the given date. So that would involve some of interest payment on the transaction, and that has to be borne by the party involved. Or party did not fulfill the obligation of making that payment on their given date. That party would be responsible for making the payment. So calculation errors, incorrect confirmation settlement, missing funding deadlines, agent bank handling errors, incorrect SSI data, late confirmation of transaction, payment credited to wrong account, system downtime, claims process helps to recover losses incurred by disadvantaged party resulting from late payment, and it is understood by all the claim process is not looking to unnecessarily enrich the disadvantaged party. So these are the reasons why there could be a claim. So various reasons: when there is a calculation error, when there is a payment made incorrectly to another party, and because of that the party who was responsible for receiving the payment did not receive for payment, and they had to fulfill the shortfall of funds on their own for those given days. Therefore, they should be compensated for the interest for the number of days when the payment was not available to them. Similarly, if there is an SSI mismatch, then also there could be a payment. There could be a reroute. There could be a misrouting of payment to the wrong wrong entity. So it would involve recalling of funds from the entity and then paying it back to the party or to the bank who was fundamentally the right owner for that transaction. So it all involved claim on it, given it failed in the first place. So interest claims in a nutshell, you could say, is also applicable in the in reconciliation. Interest reconciliation is also done whenever there is a failure of payment or failure of transactions happening in the system. All right, so with this we move on to slides. Claim calculation compensation rate. If bank impose different overdraft rates depending on relationship, these guidelines are not looking to set compensation rate, but to define the process to calculate the claim amount. The rate used to calculate the claim amount should compensate the disadvantaged party for any cost actually implied. Typically, this will be to the overdraft rate charged by the disadvantaged parties correspondent banks. The claim should not include any additional spread or administration. So, objective of this interest claim is to safeguard the interest of the party who was essentially responsible for that fund on the given timeline. If they don't receive fund on the given timeline, then they should be compensated. And why they should be compensated? They should be compensated so that they can compensate further to the party from there they borrowed fund, from where they might have also received a claim. So if the transaction was going through a custodian bank, there is a possibility custodian already fulfilled the obligation on its own by carrying out a transaction or another leg of transaction from the market, right? That usually happens whenever there is such agreement in the market. They can also do they can borrow a transaction from outside world or from their own kitty also, and then they can make the transaction. They can make a successful. They can actually make the transaction settle. But at last, they would definitely be they would be sharing that claim with the party responsible, so the party can compensate them, and therefore, if it has to be rolled back to the party who was actually responsible for the claim, it would be done that way. So claim is not to generate fee; it is not to generate profit. The main reason for the claim is to compensate the fees and the administration cost which you are bearing because of the failure of a transaction. That is the main reason why the claim process is being followed across the financial institutions. Any questions? Anything that comes to your mind maybe right at this moment?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So I move on. Move on to next slide. Outgoing claim should be clear. Compensation rate used, overdraft charges, use of funds, loss of interest charges, back valuation of original payment may also be used wherever the effect will equally compensate the disadvantaged party. Back valuation as a settlement method needs to be part of claim agreement. So there are certain back value is done when there is a failure for a certain number of days, then it is possible that back valuation is done to ensure the payment which was to be accounted in that given day is reflected uh, in a very same manner. So that is the response. That is the reason why the back valuation is done in the system, and also to ensure the party responsible for the failure of the interest, they bear the interest charges, not the one who actually not receive the interest payment. So there is a possibility if I was supposed to receive a payment on 10th of the month, and due to certain reason the payment did not come on 10th, right? So what I would be doing, I would be cancelling out the payment which I was due to receive on 10th. I would be reflecting it on the day when the payment actually came. So it may be on 15th. Payment was due for 10th, but it came on 15th. So I would reflect it came on 15th in my system. Why I would be doing that? Why I would not keep it same when I've already received the claim charges? The reason, one, it would not be right to show the payment came on 10th when it actually came on 15th. Another, if I don't do that change in my system, then there is a calculation of interest. You know, whenever there is a collateral payment which is held with one party to other party, there is a interest generated basis the number of days that you're keeping the funds with you. So when you are reflecting 10th as the payment date, when actually when the actual funds were supposed to receive, but you did not receive fund on 10th, you received them on 15th. So the system did not understand that. So system would show them received on 10th if you don't change or amend them to 15th. So which is why it is always necessary whenever payment is reflected. Similarly, it can be for back values. Maybe the funds came early due to some reason it was directed to you, but it was supposed to come from 10th. So you would be changing the due date or the value date. You would reflect when funds were received. So back value or a change of value date is necessary for the payment whenever there is a failure of payment, whenever there is a pre-payment happening at your side. So I would not be spending much time here because this part we have already covered in the previous slide. What is depot and position reconciliation, depository reconciliation with the inventory position that you have. That is what the depot and position reconciliation mean. And so position are reconciled to ensure holdings and matching internally trading system, accounting system, or risk system, and externally accounting versus custodian books on a daily basis. Failure to perform position recon can lead to this trade. There would be mismatch in the NAV of the portfolio. Either the investment banker or the custodian can miss the recording trade or other transactions like dividend, interest, etc. If this situation is not resolved, the market value of fund is not correct and NAV of the portfolio can be misrepresented to clients and participants and the portfolio manager. Right? It's very plain and simple. So if there is a missed trade and you don't, if you don't resolve or show it correctly in the books, then it will misrepresent the value of the whole portfolio. So the NAV which is reflected for the portfolio would not be the right representation. Booking errors, trade incorrectly booked by the custodian, investment manager, buy or sell incorrect quantity, price, financial reputation issues that we know already covered already. Move on. Okay, this is something we can skip because it is more of talking the same in the same thing that we have already discussed. Different types of breaks, pending trades. Normally we see pending trade because the investment manager maintains their books on trade date basis, whereas some customers maintain their books on settlement date for reporting transactions. What does this mean? This means you look at trade from the point of view of when you have actually processed trade, and however your custodian or the agent bank who would be settling the trade would be looking those transactions from the settlement date point of view, given for them the trade is only actionable when they have the value date attached to the trade. So the party or the entity who has initiated it, they start reconciling, they start looking at the trade when they actually book the trade in the books. However, the custodian look at those trade only when the trade settlement is due. They do not do the reconciliation, they do not process anything as long as the trade date has crossed. Only when the trade date has crossed, they consider those trades. So that is the pending trades. This is just an example during the 50 shares of about 100 shares G were sold at price mentioned. This is given here. G is General Electric, Abbott Laboratories, we know it is a pharmaceutical company, right? Investment manager maintains the books on trade date and custodian maintains the books on settlement date. Prepare reconciliation statement. So this example is the same about the maintaining the books on trade date and the custodian is maintaining the book for reconciliation on the settlement date. It would be showing here. In the books of investment manager, how it looks like. Price is this. This is the same price here, and this is the value you can see here. And when you look at from the books of custodian, you look at this. See, this is the price here. This is the price here, and see the value. Right? So the valuation difference would be there. Why valuation difference? Because they are taking on two different days. Quantity is same, quantity is not a problem, but the value, the price movement for the trade can be different, right? So that is why the difference would be seen in the custodian and the entity book. However, this is not often a more importance. The more importance is the quantity, because it is understood the valuation difference would come in the books of investment manager and custodian. That difference is acceptable in a sense, because price variation difference is coming because of accounting methods which are used by investment manager is accounting those trades on the trade date, and the custodian is accounting those trades on the valuation date or the settlement date rather. So therefore the valuation difference is coming up, and it is acceptable in a sense because you are doing or you are processing trades on two different times. So that is acceptable, but the prime thing for both the parties which is important to understand is the quantity. So if you look at the quantity for the investment manager is 290. Similarly, if you look at the quantity here is okay. So quantity is also different, which is why, because they have rolled up. They have rolled up the quantity. However, the quantity should be shouldn't be different. It should be same. If there is a mismatch in quantity, that is because they are rolling up the quantity for the previous day also. That is possible. Otherwise, this price dilution can be seen. It is same the calculation which we have seen here. The same thing that has been done on this slide. We'll just move on and not be spending time here. Cash and transaction reconciliation. So transactions are reconciled to ensure that all transactions from the previous business day are counted for the mutual fund and the custodian bank. The errors in completion of this task can result in missed trade. So again, I would not be talking about the what will result if there is an error or everything, because it is more or less the same thing that we have done in previous slides also. Mistake transaction, change in NAV value, the misrepresentation of NAV on the portfolio because of the missed trade or transactions not correctly showing up in the portfolio, erroneous cash reconciliation, reporting a wrong investable cash number as a result in portfolio manager over investing or under investing, account overdraft. We know what is overdraft already. There could be a situation where a trade was both cancelled before execution by investment manager, but the cancellation message did not reach custodian. Custodian shows a live position in their books. Okay, this is quite common. This is quite common with investment bank whenever there is a settlement of trade. So, or when there is a trade initiated by investment manager, and if the investment manager has actually cancelled the trade, but the cancel message doesn't reach to the custodian. You know, whenever there is a trade initiated, there is a swift message which goes to the agent bank for the custodian. You can say so. Custodian relies completely on the message which is sent to them. They don't go by the manual information or the email or anything for that matter. They rely on the agent. They rely on the messages, swift messages which are sent out to them. So if a cancellation is processed due to any reason, if a cancellation message doesn't reach custodian, or maybe it reaches after the cutoff time, so there is a possibility the custodian would keep a trade live in their books. However, as an entity of investment bank, you would have already closed out the trade in your books. So that may also lead to the error in reconciliation, because you would be showing a trade which is already offset. As an investment manager, you can look at this transaction here. Google buy 150 quantity, one trade, and they have already cancelled. So it is offset. There is nothing here. But custodian is still showing one trade, which is a buy. Because they have not received the cancellation message, therefore they still keep this trade live. And so not receiving cancellation message due to many reasons. One is the cutoff. When you are actually cancelling the transaction, the cutoff has already gone, and similarly when you are cancelling, maybe this cancellation message is something which doesn't go automatically in your system, not go to the agent bank automatically. There are certain banks who are not able to send cancellation message automatically. So this is it is a system functionality, I will say. Whenever a cancellation happens, cancellation should actually go STP, but there are applications which do not support STP cancellation. So in that situation, you need to actually fax a cancellation copy you need to fax a cancellation copy to the agent bank. So that is how the cancellation cancellation takes place at the custodian end. But given the fax is a cumbersome process, because fax would be sent out, then there should be someone who should be receiving the fax and then actioning the fax that is sent from the site is a process. It involves some time, so it could be some delay also, and therefore if there is a delay, there is a possibility the cancellation which you have already done is not done by the custodian bank. It's quite common. breaks, missing cash flows and fees, missing subscriptions, missing redemption withdrawals, missing management and advisory fees, missing custody. So these are the cash reconciliation breaks which you can see. Various different kind of fees related break, redemption, subscription related breaks that you can see, and this is primarily from the mutual fund point of view. Then interest break, I would not be investing much time here because interest be the same sort of break. It can be the interest break on the collateral, it can be the interest break on the coupon, it can be interest break on your claim that you have. So different interest break, but the process for the interest, it can be interest on short-term investment funds, which is given there. So it is more or less the same thing, which interest break when you talk about, it is not different. Short-term investment fund is a type of fund investment money market instrument of high quality and low risk. Stable value funds seek to preserve principal, pay competitive interest rate, and provide daily liquidity. You can move your investment in the SPIF to bond or stock funds to meet your asset allocation needs. The excess cash is invested on daily basis by the custodian in SPIF funds that help generate returns while retaining liquidity. Reconciliation will help in matching the cash flows between IM and custodian. So this is a short-term investment fund. Whenever there is an excess cash available at the investment bank side, what they do, they put in their money in such kind of investment fund. You can say liquid mutual fund. Another name that we use in India. Liquid mutual fund is the same kind of fund where you put in your money for a very short time, for a short period. Ultra bond, you can say also. There are ultra short bond kind of a mutual fund available. So there also the objective is that these are very short term bond wherein you don't want to lose the liquidity also, because you know you require fund, you require money. You can't put it for a long period of time. You can't invest money for a long time. At the same time, you want to generate some return on those funds. So that is why you kind of put in these money on such kind of funds. So you need to do your reconciliation for these transactions as well. When a bond is sold, buyer pays the seller the market price plus the accrued interest up to the settlement date, for which the buyer will be reimbursed when the issuer next pays interest coupon. There could be difference in the accrued interest calculation between the custodian and investment. As we know, the calculation for interest is done based on the convention period that we have, various convention period that we saw in the bond chapter. I will not be talking them now. So that basis that the interest calculation is done. So there could be some miscalculation. There could be some issues with the interest payments, and that figure which both with the entities are calculating. So that also needs a reconciliation. It is just an example shown here. So breaks when you are dealing with the FX rate difference. So if difference between the FX spot applied by investment manager versus the rate applied by custodian. So if there is a slightest of difference in the rate applied by investment bank and the custodian, that difference will arise, and the difference you can see the GBP USD spot rate for the investment bank is 1.509445. However, for the custodian it's 1.5084. So there is a difference in the FX rate applied by both the parties, custodian and investment bank, and because of that, there is a difference of $141 coming up. So again, it needs to be this kind of transactions. FX transactions are also required a daily reconciliation to ensure there are no differences in the amount receivable and payable. Internal reconciliation, you already know what the internal reconciliation is, why it is important. Internal reconciliation is very important to any investment bank to resolve breaks that arise due to feed issues between the front office and back office, right? That is why we do the internal reconciliation. This is for the internal bank itself to understand how the feed flow is being done from one side of the bank to the other side of the bank, from front office to back office or middle office, to assess the data integrity, to assess the flow of information from front office to the other offices in the system. So that is why the reconciliation is performed internally as well. Sales support rate reconciliation, need for reconciliation. I'll not be going into this because again it is a part of internal reconciliation. So intercompany reconciliation, intercompany transactions is a movement of position between two internal IB subsidiaries that are on the track of financial transactions. So that is the intercompany reconciliation when you have two subsidiaries, right? So like the example shown here, Bank ABN AMRO New York, then Bank of America NY. This is a two different bank. However, when this is interbank, I will say the first one is an interbank, second one is an intercompany, wherein you are doing a transaction between the ABN AMRO New York and ABN AMRO Frankfurt. So this is interbank, intercompany, sorry, and this is the interbank, which is one bank to another bank transaction. So all these transactions are these reconciliations are done. Example, this is just an example. We do, I don't, with numbers and everything is given here. It's more or less the same thing. So it is in nutshell given all kind of issues which a reconciliation can face and various reasons by which there could be a break in the reconciliation process, and how those the various reasons in nutshell I can say, which are shown here on one slide at one page, which all reasons could be there which leading to the breaks in the reconciliation process. With this, we close this reconciliation piece, and so we are done with the reconciliation. Maybe you can look at your entire curriculum again, because I am of the view like your whole curriculum, your whole course is complete now, right? With this, it is already it is done now. I don't see anything left now, but again you can cross check. You can see if there is something pending. Probably we can revisit that. We can do that again. And even if you have any questions, concern, anything that comes to your mind, we can discuss about them and have another session. And in case we would be having one doubt clearing session on Saturday, so there you can discuss, or even after that, if you think something is pending, you can discuss about it stuff later on. Any question, guys? Anything that comes to your mind right at this moment?
No, sir. Only I would like to say a thank you for teaching us not only related to the course, but also related to the like major life lessons and corporate lessons, which you have experienced over the years and which you have imparted us. And we'll be like very grateful to you if that comes into our account in our life and we'll be able to like achieve on those. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Yeah, definitely very well said. So I definitely wish for all of you, like whatever lessons, primarily the one which are the practical ones in terms of the in terms of dealing with your senior stakeholders, or maybe the junior stakeholders, or maybe having a striking a balance between the team, how you manage the expectation of your colleague, maybe your boss, maybe the manager. These are certain aspects which everyone needs to balance in one way or the other. So which I think will help you apart from the normal study, because you know you would certainly be learning more than what we have done in these slides when you are actually going through the practical phase, which you are already on. Most of you have already joined the banks, and so I wish good luck to everyone, and thank you for being patient and being so connected throughout this long time, because it has been a long journey. It has been undoubtedly it's been a very long time doing the whole stuff. Thank you for being patient, being continuing with this thing. It was amazing, undoubtedly, for everyone, and I wish a very bright and wonderful future for every one of you. and this is a good wish, which is for all of you from my side.
And I hope so you will be in touch.
Yeah, I would definitely be in touch. My number would be same because the number which I'm keeping is a little old number. It already 10 and 11 years old number. So, and the same number has got WhatsApp also. So, any which ways, anytime you need any sort of assistance, any sort of information, any sort of advice, any sort of maybe you have any information to share with me, you share on my WhatsApp number because to and fro of information is necessary. That is how you and me, or maybe everyone for that matter, grows in the knowledge and how you enrich your knowledge. To and fro information necessary. So whenever you come across any information, share it on my WhatsApp. Similarly, when I see any information, I'll share it with you guys on the group that we have, and we can keep growing as we move ahead in our career, in our lives, in the personal life. Right.
Thank you so much,
Anything
sir.
to
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
go
I
ahead.
also wanted to say one thing. कि thank you so much, sir. आपने बहुत अच्छा पढ़ाया और हमको मजा भी आया. So I
Yeah,
would recommend, I would send my recommendation to Marticus that जितने भी courses उनके चल रहे हैं उसमें आपको रखा जाए, आप इन सबको पढ़ाओ
thank you so
और
much. Yeah.
जितना भी कोर्स वो करा रहे हैं. दूसरा ये कि आपका कमीशन भी अब बढ़ाया जाए, ज्यादा हो रहा है, लोग आपको दे कुछ नहीं रहे हैं.
This certainly helps me. Yeah, you should put it on like on the email to my boss, maybe boss in a sense to the institute, so they should consider this. So, yeah, I do expect now higher payments. Yeah, right.
We go out for lunch once this lockdown
Yeah,
gets over.
absolutely. I think maybe as soon as it is over, as in the lockdown is over, and we can definitely plan one get together, and we can go for the land for dinner, whatever is suits for everyone. Accordingly, we can plan.
Yes, sir. And we will go to, I think, Italy restaurant or Chinese restaurant. I think. Italian will be good.
Yeah.
And so me, Ajay, and Akriti and Zaf will meet you at the Candor Infotech space.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, because you guys can meet at Candor itself because because we are all at the same site. So that's a very good thing. So
we can like after the working hours we can meet or.
Yeah, absolutely. In the working hour we can meet. We can just plan. You can WhatsApp and we can even coordinate on WhatsApp only, and then accordingly we can plan and meet there itself. That would be a good thing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, and it will be good if our Saxo Bank will collaborate with RBS, so it will be good for us also.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That will be amazing. Absolutely, undoubtedly. So there would be more to and fro in terms of the knowledge sharing and maybe the job sharing also, job opportunity sharing.
Oh yes, of course.
Right. That would be great. So that's it, guys. So thank you so much for being patient throughout this journey, right? Throughout this long time, I definitely appreciate every one of you for being patient, because I completely understand. Like at times we lose cool, we lose patience also, given and especially the situation, because doing the online classes, it's certainly a big challenge. It's not the same as we do in class. We get more interaction. We can feel, we can see the faces. We can actually feel the energy at times. But on the online, we are unable to feel that sort of energy at times also. So being patient, being able to fulfill everything, it really requires a lot of effort from everyone, from your side, and appreciate that. And that's it from my side. So guys, any other thoughts, anything maybe you have, anyone else apart from Apurv or Ajay, Akriti, or maybe anyone else has anything to say before I close it? Arifa is saying thank you, that's great. Yeah, you're welcome, you're most welcome, Arifa. Any concern, maybe anything, do let me know, right? And we'll keep you updated about other things, maybe placement and other things. We'll let you know whenever there are opportunities. I'll definitely perhaps
Even we'll inform Marifa and AI if any opportunity comes by. We'll definitely let them know.
That would be great. That would be great. Yes, sure. That is the coordination. That is the cooperation this team has. This batch has. I've seen this. I've seen from day one. You actually care about everyone in the team, and that's the best thing I can expect from any batch. That's the best I can see in this batch. That's a great thing. In fact, each one of you is trying to help the other member. You want to see other growing. Also, you want to other people also do excel in their professional life, in their personal life. So that's a great thing in totality. So that's it from my end, guys. I have nothing else to say now. So we are good now, I guess, and we can close.
Sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, sir. Okay. Then see you, sir.
Great.
Please share your questions by today.
Yeah. I'll share the questions by today.
Okay, sir.
Sure. Bye. Take care.
You.
See you.
Okay, sir. Bye bye. Bye bye, sir.
Bye.